Maternal love. Geronda, are those who love discreetly spiritually pure? There are many cases. It may often be a matter of simple worldly politeness. Some people are kind and polite, but this doesn't mean they are also spiritually noble, with a sense of sacrifice. To have certain good traits is another matter. One who has worldly politeness and is hypocritical can do a lot of harm, because the other person is fooled into opening his heart and wasting his devoutness on a secular person who has no idea what devoutness is. This is like giving gold coins to someone who is only familiar with bronze drachmas. Moreover, one must not waste time trying to spiritually admonish people who are only at ease with worldly conversations and who only wish to selfishly express their opinions. Geronda, what should we do when someone comes and tells us his problem over and over again, when in fact it has been more or less taken care of? When the problem is stated for the first time, it is right to allow someone to speak for as long as he wants, and say as much as he needs to say. Then you have to listen to him. If you don't, he will think you are tired of him and don't understand him. Later, however, if he continues to repeat the same things, you will tell him, "It is not that I can't listen to you, but to do so won't do you any good. You turn even the summer into winter. Now you are better, it is spring. Soon it will be summer. But you think of winter in the summer and you catch a cold." Sometimes, however, one can observe the following, even among spiritual people. Someone goes to tell his sorrow to someone else who does not want to listen and be deprived of his joyfulness. He may pretend to be in a hurry to go somewhere, or he may change the subject in order not to be upset. This is utterly satanic. It is as if someone is dying next to me and I move further away so that I can keep on singing. Where then is the scriptural verse? Weep with those who weep, especially when it concerns serious ecclesiastical issues, and as a Christian one does not share the anguish of another. Then that person does not participate in the body of the church. When I don't excuse others for some action of theirs, does this mean that I have a hard heart? You don't excuse others, but you excuse yourself. Then tomorrow Christ will not excuse you. Your heart can become hard as a rock in an instant if you are not careful, and it can equally quickly become tender. You must acquire a maternal heart. You see, a mother will forgive all things and sometimes will pretend not to see certain mischief. Be patient with others and excuse them. Tolerate others so that Christ will tolerate you. Geronda, how does the heart expand and grow? When you always excuse the mischief, the imperfections and the shortcomings of others, and you see yourself mirrored in them. Of course, the evil one may sometimes bring second thoughts about others, especially if there is some reason. But it is up to us to accept these thoughts or repel them. When we put ourselves in someone else's shoes, we will sympathize and want to excuse them. Also, if something is done out of malice, but out of superficiality, the action informs us and does not provoke a reaction. It is only natural for human weaknesses to exist among all human beings, but it is wrong to have an evil disposition. If someone is feeling badly and I am well, can I influence him? What if it is temptation making it seem that way? How do you know that you are in a better state than the other person? From the moment I believe that I am better than the next person and I feel sorry for him, I should feel sorry for myself and not the other. Even when we see that the other person is really not well spiritually, we should still make excuses for him. Only for himself should someone not make excuses. He should judge himself worse than others in grief for his own shortcomings. Such a person will recognize that he has not done anything for all that God has given him and will confess, "My God, do not take me into account. Put me off to the side. I have done nothing to merit your help, but do help the other person." Those who actually do progress spiritually do not recognize their great progress. They only experience great compunction and humility and the love of God together with an inexpressible exaltation of joy.